Well, it has been called the most significant attack on our nation's power grid, and some have even gone as far as labeling it as an act of terrorism.
So how did we deal with it? There's controversy within the Santa Clara County Sheriff's Office and its response to this attack on a PG&E substation in San Jose.
Chief investigative reporter Tony Kovaleski breaking the story tonight. And Tony, first responders frustrated and speaking out.
And tonight, they are talking for the first time. They believe the people in charge of managing the response mishandled critical decisions just hours after the attack.
This is far more than vandalism. This is a serious attack. This was a debacle, and it was compromised from the start.
They are two of the first responders to the attack on the Metcalf substation last April. Are you putting your career at risk by talking to us?
Absolutely.
They asked us to disguise their identities and change their voices. They fear retaliation. Why are you doing that?
This is important.
It started shortly before 2 a.m. A 911 call of shots fired. This security camera video shows what happened. The flashes of light, bullets from a high-powered rifle exploding through 17 giant transformers. The attack lasted just 19 minutes and caused more than $15 million in damage. A major incident that could have created a significant blackout in the Bay Area.
It was a big deal, and the sheriff's office refused to recognize that until about 8:30, 9 o'clock the next morning. He decided to wait till daylight. It's embarrassing. It's an embarrassment and a disservice for the citizens of Santa Clara County.
Their frustration centers on what they have described as a lack of resources after deputies and the incident commander on scene asked for more help when the shots were confirmed.
When we have field supervisors who tell administration that we have a problem, and the administration decide that you really don't have a problem, you're overreacting, and then do not send anybody to help, that is a travesty.
They accuse the sheriff's command staff of downplaying the significance of the attack, of failing to quickly call out more deputies, the SWAT team, the sheriff's helicopter, and specially trained dogs. They question why it took more than 5 hours before additional support arrived. They believe those delays contributed to a crime that remains unresolved 16 months later.
The support wasn't there. Deputies worked their heart out. The sergeant on scene was frustrated. It's so disingenuous. It's written to make this incident look like the sheriff's office is on top of it, handled it perfectly, when nothing could be farther from the truth.
He's talking about this letter requested by Congresswoman Zoe Lofgren. The Metcalf substation is in her district. It's written by Undersheriff John Hirakawa in March of this year, a letter that included the administration immediately arranged for additional sheriff's office resources assigned to this incident. A letter to a congresswoman about a pretty critical incident. Filled with truth?
Filled with myth. It's filled with credit where credit is not due.
The letter from the undersheriff also included over 1,600 hours of overtime, and over $100,000 in overtime were expended to investigate this incident.
We spent 1,600 hours of overtime and $100,000 well after everything is over. What does that mean? It means you sent bodies and you spent money because the media got there.
And they are not the only sheriff's office employees questioning what happened at Metcalf. NBC Bay Area obtained this internal email written to Undersheriff Hirakawa by Sergeant Gabriel Gonzalez, the first supervisor on site that morning. It talks about insufficient staffing on scene and includes, "It was pretty demoralizing for my deputies, and we felt left out to dry that morning."
Undersheriff Hirakawa, do you have a moment?
Undersheriff Hirakawa originally declined our request to address the concerns raised by some of his first responders, but recently he did agree to answer our questions outside the county administration building, including questions about that memo sent by his sergeant.
He said he asked for additional staffing. It wasn't granted.
He has his interpretation of how this call should have been handled. I'm not going to second guess that sergeant out in the field, but what I did do is I looked over the facts, and I believe that case or that call was handled appropriately.
The undersheriff also stands by the accuracy of his letter to Congresswoman Lofgren.
Did you mislead the Congresswoman with this letter?
No.
Why would 3 members of your staff say you've done that?
I don't know why.
Although a sergeant and 2 deputies questioned the letter, the undersheriff pointed to these emails from 3 supervisors also involved in the Metcalf response. They found no problems with the letter to the Congresswoman.
What should the people of Santa Clara County take away from this issue?
The fact is that we responded. I think we did a great job.
Are you surprised the person or people responsible for this are not behind bars?
No, because we didn't investigate it in a timely manner.
Could the Sheriff's Department have done a better job responding to what happened?
We could always do a better job, Tony.
Undersheriff Hirakawa did say he now plans to call for a complete debrief of what happened the morning of the Metcalf attack. And we also talked with Congresswoman Lofgren. She said she does not want to get in the middle of issues in the sheriff's office because it's not her responsibility. Raj, Jess?